Hey guys, week 13, and just a short message to encourage you. The word discouraged is interesting because if you break it down, what it really means is somebody lacks courage. It's really encouraged and discouraged are based around that word courage. And it's an interesting phenomenon, I should say, that we face as human beings. Discouragement. Some people have trouble facing or having the courage to even face the day. They pull the covers up under their chin and they say, I don't want to get out. I can't face what life is bringing me today. And we're discouraged. Very natural reaction to the stressors and demands of life. Some people have difficulty going to their job, getting up and making themselves food or food for the family, enduring in a relationship. Anything that comes our way and is an obstacle to free-flowing life creates in us often a place of discouragement, and we just don't have the courage to fight on. I want to suggest to you that, there are clinical descriptions of discouragement which should be treated by medicine. Just because we're Christian doesn't mean that we don't use medicine to help our brains, just like we use medicines to help our diabetes or our cancers or our infections. We use medicine. That's reasonable. God gave us brains to create it. And so if discouragement is debilitating, then of course a Christian should seek professional help. But if you have a discouragement that comes and goes, if you have a discouragement that's fleeting relative to the circumstances around you, I want to point a few things out that might be of benefit to you in your life this week or in the future. Encouragement to increase and support courage in your life comes by virtue of light and good and God. Encouragement tells you you're going to be okay. And it's not going to be okay. Most of you, if you've lived over 50 years, have discovered that most things the next day, the next week, the next month turn out okay. And so I think it's incumbent upon people who have the light of Christ in them, who have the Spirit of God in them, to be encouragers of life, to sustain and support people in their efforts to face problems, to overcome obstacles and difficulties. That in and through Christ, we all have the power of God to be resilient and to get out of bed and to face those tasks that bring us down and weigh us down emotionally and psychologically and from within, even spiritually. One of the great ways to overcome discouragement and to be encouraged with life is to, if possible, reflect upon all that God has done for you and give Him praise in the storm, to look to Him as the living God, your Father, who gave us His Son, and say, because of Christ, I am blessed, and I trust in your promises of an expected good end in the future. It's again, if it is psychological and it needs to be addressed with medicine, that's one thing. But if it's spiritual and it's what we call spiritual warfare, all that is we have the dark discouragement trying to engulf the light encouragement. And so you want to fortify your spirit when it's spiritual warfare. So you want to take the dark and light a candle. You want to put light in the dark spaces of your heart. And that means bringing God in, who says, I have a good and expected end. You haven't seen the glories that await those who love me. The promises of life with Him after this life. This life is never really described in the Christian sense as one of being full of joy and full of fantastic strength in our flesh. It is really a dying of our flesh. And so we naturally face discouragement when it comes to managing the things in our flesh. I just want to tell you that I want to encourage you. And I want you to know that when your faith increases and you have more hope on the promises of God and you look to Him with more of your heart, and you fortify your courage by reading the Word through the Spirit, that the discouragement will fade. And you will become empowered to go and fight against or resist the things that are bringing you down. And I just want to point out that discouragement is of the darkness. The dark, in whatever form that is or however you see it, its place is to bring you down, to render you ineffective, to point a finger at you and to say you're not good enough. And even in the Christian church, if somebody is down your case because you have failed at something, that is a form of darkness. This doesn't mean we don't speak the truth, but it is the truth in light and love. And so if somebody is condemning you and something is making you feel like you are not equipped, or something in the atmosphere is making you feel like you don't want to get out of bed, that is of the dark. It is of death. When you think about it, you climb under the covers, that is a point of acting in death. That's saying, I'm not going to live. So you know it's of the dark. Encouragement is always of God. So if you've done something bad in your life and you talk to a Christian and they say, I want to encourage you in your faith. I want to encourage you in the finished work of Christ. I want to encourage you that God has forgiven you and you can move forward now freely of guilt and shame. You can move forward because your heart has changed for the thing you've done, and you're encouraging, that's of God. So anytime you meet an it or someone or something that is bringing you down, that is of the dark. Anytime you have something that is lifting you up, encouraging you, speaking the truth, but encouraging you, that is of God. Let me give you an example and we'll wrap this up. Somebody comes to me and they say, I'm having an affair. Okay, you're having an affair. And how's that making you think? I think I'm really in sin. Okay, and what do you think about God? What does He think about you? I think He thinks that I'm not doing right. Okay, and so what are you going to do about that? In my heart, I've known the whole time it's wrong, and I'm making a mistake, and I shouldn't do this to my wife or my kids, and I'm just struggling to get over that. That person deserves encouragement. You're doing well. Keep fortifying those things in your heart. The flesh is sinful. They know that. They already said that. And so you encourage them through the victory Christ has had and what God wants for them, and you help bring them along. On the other hand, someone comes and says, I'm having an affair, and I think it's what I need in my life. And I don't really care about the feelings of my wife or my children, and I don't really care what it leads to. Then you want to bring forth the truth, but in light. Okay? And you say the truth of the matter is, yes, God's forgiven you of your sin. I don't think He's going to punish you for this way that you're taking. But I do think that your children will get messed up, and I think you're going to ruin lives, and I think that will probably play out in your life. And I think that if you were really a man, you'd step up and you would change your ways instead of taking the easy way out. But, that's my perspective. Nevertheless, I love you, and I'm not holding anything against you. But I want to encourage you to choose the light and not the things that will lend to more discouragement, not only in your life, but in others. That's the difference. The third way I could approach the person is saying, you're going to hell. You're a loser. You're no good. You're not a Christian. You never have been. I don't think that you belong in the faith. Don't come back to church. We're going to excommunicate you. You're dark. You're evil. You're bad. Okay, so you see the different ways to respond to people's failures, right? It's all predicated, I learned this from Chuck Smith, on the heart of the person. If the person is broken, then you encourage. If the person is proud, then you bring them the truth in love. And if the person is just out of their mind, obstinate, you still show them and encourage them love. So I want to do that with you, if you're watching this message, to encourage you to move forward, to put the darkness where it belongs, and know that God loved you so much, he gave you his only begotten son to take care of everything that gets in our way. Love you much.